Better Beer Authority, better beer.
Hi, I'm James Knott, and this is your Better Beer Authority. Today, we're back with another blind tasting. Mark, what are your initial flavor impressions of this beer?
Initially, the flavor impressions that I'm getting out of it is a big fruit character and a big malt character. I get a lot of apple more than anything else, and maybe kind of a mapley backbone to it. Not really any discernible hop balance. I'm sure there's some, but there's none that's real prevalent. It just seems like a malt-strong, malt-forward beer.
Joby, this is a little darker. Are you getting any roasted, toasted flavors in there?
I'm not, James. Going back on what Mark was saying, I mean, not that I eat a lot of dates, but I'm getting like a dark fruit node out of it. Not much. I mean, you would think with the color of the beer, it'd be kind of amber, you know, a red beer maybe, or even a light dark beer, but I don't get any of the chocolate or coffee nodes out of this at all.
Scott, if you were gonna guess, like, where would you guess the ABV would be on a beer like this?
I would go probably 5%, almost right on.
5%?
Plus or minus a few. Yeah, 4.6, 5.2, somewhere in there.
So, in that sense, like, what kind of beer, like, who would you recommend this beer to?
I think this would be a great beer for tailgating or going to a ball game, just having a few. I mean, this could be a good substitution for Miller Lite, Bud Light, Budweiser, if you want to try something different. It's going to be a good beer that I think someone that's a standard BMC drinker is going to be able to palate. And
yeah,
it's very palatable.
I'd agree with that. Definitely a great gateway beer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it tastes much like beer at all. I mean, it might be our defined palates that we're drinking so many IPAs now, but I don't think it has very much beer.
It's just a very soft beer.
Yeah, it's very soft, and like you said, it could, you know, the gateway BMC drinkers, you know, if they're used to drinking Bud Light, Miller Lite, they could go to this, or even a female that's looking to maybe branch out.
Yeah, because it's much less carbonated than
I would
a standard.
Females!
Yeah.
Well, it's less carbonated than the Bud, Miller, and Coors, and sometimes they don't necessarily like the carbonation in those. And
right.
So this could be a good, like you said,
I mean, who would this be good for, or what occasion, or is there any person or occasion that this would be good for in your mind, Mark?
No.
No?
No. This beer isn't for me. There's not really anything to it. If you were going to go for a more sessionable or BMC-esque beer, I'd rather have a Miller Lite over this, just because there's nothing to Miller Lite. You know, you get exactly what you paid for. There's nothing great about it, but it doesn't suck. You know, it's thrifty, affordable, drink 20 of them beer.
Okay.
But this beer doesn't suck, but it's just not, there's something to it that isn't setting well with me.
Okay.
It's...
Well, don't go too far here.
Okay.
Let me tell you a little bit about the beer. It's an amber ale with 5.4% ABV, so you're pretty close. 22 IBUs, so, you know, not overwhelming there. And it should be enjoyed in an English pint or shaker. And here's a little hint. It was brewed in Southern Illinois. You still have absolutely no idea. Mark, what's your rating?
I'd give this beer 5. Like I said, it doesn't suck, but it's not a beer that I would aspire others try, and I wouldn't try to inspire others to try it also. It's fine. I'm going to finish this. I don't feel bad about doing that, but no, just not my particular brand.
Joseph?
Yeah, man, I'm going to go with Mark. It's a 5. There's nothing much I can say about this beer. I'm going to forget it after the review here. If it was offered to me again, I'd drink it, but it's boring to me. I mean, if that makes sense, it's a boring beer. It doesn't have any bells or whistle that's going to stick in my head and be able to, you know, 2 weeks down the road be like, oh yeah, I had that beer and it tasted like this. I just think it's kind of a blah beer.
Okay. Scott?
Blah. No, I'd give it a 5 as well. Again, it's just, I don't know. It's not amazing, but it is something that I would drink again. I mean, if I was rating it for tailgate beers only in that category, might be a 6.
Okay, well, why don't we just see what beer we're talking about here? I guarantee you guys have never heard of Saluki Dunkeldog.
The Dunkeldog. You know what? I changed my rating. With a name like that, it's an 8. It's an 8.
But yeah, I mean, it's just from a very small brewery, only since like 2009. And you could tell by some of the other beers in their lineup that they're kind of going for sessionable beers and a little bit more of a crossover on some of their initial beers, like crossover to craft beer sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the path they're going for, I think they're hitting it on the head there.
They have a target market. Having said that, they have a target market, and by the way, I'm still firm with my 5. We're not what they're going for. Guys like us that are going for bigger, bolder, more complexity, we seek out something that is more risque.
That stands out too.
Yeah, that stands out, but something more risque. There's a market out there that is probably going to love this beer. Somebody who really likes to stick on the mild side without too much malt, without too much hop. This could be somebody's 8, could be somebody's 9, 10. I don't know. That person might be out there, but we're not the market for this beer. So I'll stick with my 5, but I'll go back and say that while I think this beer is not for me, I validate that it doesn't suck.
Hey, before we go any further, Saluki Dunkeldog is from the Big Muddy Brewing Company, a small brewery in the southern Illinois town of Murphysboro. It was founded in 2009 by Chuck Stuhrenberg. Saluki Dunkeldog is an amber ale that uses 2-row pale, roasted, Munich, and chocolate malts. The brewery recommends pairing it with steaks, burgers, Southern Illinois barbecue, and spicy food. Joby, seeing the packaging and knowing kind of a little bit more about the brewery, I mean, what are your conclusions here?
I mean, James, 2 years ago today, this would have been right up my alley. Coming from a Miller Lite background, not really loving hops or anything too hoppy, going strictly on drinkability, this would have been a great beer. But again, now that we've done this show for a little over 2 years now, our taste buds have changed. We seek those hop forward beers, or they're real, different beers. So again, if they're going for that crossover, that gateway beer into the craft brew, I think this hits the nail on the coffin. But like Mark said, this beer's probably not for us. But again, that doesn't make it a bad beer. It's just in our eyes, it's probably not something we're going to seek out again.
Yeah, for me personally, I'd probably give it a 6. I really like it as a sort of tailgate beer where I know I'm going to hang out, I'm talking, I'm having a few beers, but I don't want something that's like really fatiguing on the palate and really aggressive or is going to get me really drunk. I just want something to hang out with. This has a little bit more flavor, and I kind of like I find a little bit of roasted malt in there in the backbone. And for me, it sits pretty nicely.
Yeah.
Scott, what are your conclusions?
Well, I've noticed that your hair is different today. Very nice. Second, I think I agree with you on everything you said. I guess after it's been warming up a little bit, it's kind of warming up to me as well. I mean, maybe if I had waited to rate it, I might give it a 6 now as well. It's
there's kind of a cherry smell to it.
Yeah, there's something different.
Like some kind of a fruit note in there.
It's
almost apple.
Yeah, I would definitely.
Grainy smell.
I would drink this at a tailgate as well, and I would probably actually pick this over Miller Lite at a tailgate myself, because I agree. I think it's something a little bit different, and stand around, have a conversation, and you can have a couple of them, and you're not going to be laying on the floor later.
Well, this was given to us by my brother, Greg Knott, in Peoria, Illinois. Hi, Greg. How you doing?
Dankeschön.
And so he picked this up and gave it to me for Christmas for us to review on the show. So he has never had it, as far as I know, though. He just liked the packaging. So Big Muddy, just so you know, the packaging worked. You got another customer out of it. That's it. Saluki Dunkeldog gets a 5 on the BBA scale. I'm James Knott. Don't forget to go buy a t-shirt. This is your Better Beer Authority. We love you.
Better Beer Authority. Better Beer Authority. Better Beer Authority.